Welcome to the East Bank Sports Show with your hosts, Matt and Noah.
Welcome back into the East Bank Sports Show, everybody. My name's Noah. Matt, how was your weekend, man?
It was good. It was good. Not too much going on, but all around a good one.
Yeah, I was up in Columbus for the Arnold Classic today. You know, big powerlifting convention. All the big names and the supplement brands are up there. You know, got a bunch of free energy drinks, pre-workout samples. Anybody into the gym knows how good of a time that is, especially as an Ohioan. But with all that being said, as fun as the Arnold is, we've had just as fun of a week as Cleveland sports fans. And let's start it off with the one and only Max Strus. Now, Matt, I was at the game. I was working. Let me hear your reaction from watching that game.
You know, I was standing there at work, watching as much of it as I can, getting to the last 3 minutes of it. Haven't paid much attention at all, really. And the general manager of the restaurant actually comes back and he's like, "Hey, it's getting to be a pretty good game. You might want to watch this." So we start standing there watching it. We watch that turnover happen there at the end, and we're like, "Oh, you can't do that. Like, that's going to end it."
Same with me and my coworkers at the Cavs. But yeah, continue.
You just can't afford that in that spot. It's over. He throws that ball up, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. It went in, and I've never seen my GM move like that before. He took off running around the kitchen. I was going crazy. The dishwashers were going crazy. It was insane.
Yeah.
I still can't believe he made it.
So before I go into a little bit of the nitty-gritty details of my reaction in person, I want to preface this with, you do your wrap-up at the end of the day at a shift as a Cavs employee, and my boss says, it looked like y'all had a mosh pit in the tunnel we stand in. That's how crazy you guys were going after that shot. Me and my one coworker literally lifted up another coworker. We were going crazy. So when LeBron was here and, we were going on all those great runs and that, I went to a few playoff games, specifically Bulls-Cavs playoff game, which for those who don't know or might not have been there or might not remember, the Cavs-Bulls in the LeBron era was always a pretty good series. We always, went back and forth. LeBron had that game-winning three. So did Derrick Rose. I got to go to one of those games in person, obviously here in Cleveland, and the energy of that Max Strus make was so comparable to the energy of a playoff basketball game when you have a chance to win the whole thing. And I am so happy that I got to be a part of that moment, and I got to work for a team that got to have that moment. There's billboards all over downtown now. They're selling T-shirts with him throwing up the shot. I get ads on TikTok. Yeah, I get you see it everywhere, man. Literal, actual goosebumps on my arm. Visibly could see them after he made that shot. To go over that game a little bit too, just because I think it was a very big and signature win for the Cavs. We were down 110-100. Strus then makes 4 threes in a row to bring us up to. We start battling a little bit. Donovan makes 2 in a row, and then Strus hits that game winner, man. There's nothing like that. We come playoff time and, we win a game or it's close. They'll be like, oh no, here comes Strus. He's, known for this now, or here comes Donovan. I'm so ecstatic about how that game went down still. And I know, I can recap a little bit. We lost the Bulls the next night in double overtime. We looked tired as hell. I'm not going to lie. Followed that up with a win against the Pistons, and we're recording this Sunday night. We just lost to the Knicks. So we're going back and forth still, but I'm still feeling good about this team, and I'm still feeling good about that moment, man. It has been a minute since I've got to feel that good about Cleveland sports. What do you have to say, Matt?
I think one of the huge takeaways going back to that Mavericks game is, obviously the Mavericks are not a horrible team. And to be able to come back from down 10 late in the game, all year we've talked about how it's a young team that needs to gel. And we've also said that they have done that and shown that, they can be a great team at times. I think that's one of those wins that's like, yeah, okay. Even in the really bad spots, this team can play. And these young kids are figuring out that even like in the hard times, it's still very possible to win. I think that can be huge, like you were talking about, come playoff time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this team does year 2 of the Donovan Mitchell experience in the playoffs. One last thing I want to touch on Cavs-wise real quick. Actually, 2 things. My bad, I'm sorry. The first thing, Kyrie basically apologized to the city of Cleveland for, how he exited, which, mad respect to Kyrie, obviously, he was a big part of the reason why we won those championships. He was quoted saying, Cleveland loved me through my mistakes, and I love him for it. I can say, as Cleveland, we love you, Kyrie. Following that up, um, just to add to our good energy, the Swifties like the Cavs now. And I only bring this up because of the fact that I, who am not a Taylor Swift fan, now see Swiftie Sports Center on my timeline on X because Travis Kelce tweeted about Max Struess's shot. So I just wanted to shout out that. Hopefully we keep that energy and we get that Chiefs luck and we win a championship this year. Am I right, Matt?
I mean, hey, she brought the Chiefs one. She can bring us one, hopefully.
Let's flip gears, Matt. Let's talk some baseball. Talk to me about what's going on over in Arizona right now.
So, as most everybody knows by now, spring training is into full effect. Looking like some pretty typical Cleveland baseball out there for the most part. A lot of high hit, low run games. It's to be expected. One thing I think to pay a lot of attention to, Chase DeLauder hit an absolute nuke of a home run, I think earlier this week.
Yeah, it was like Monday or Tuesday, I think, this week.
It's another option in the outfield where we need some help. I know Noah thinks there's a spot he should go. I think he should go to another one.
Oh, he should be the center fielder all day. I'm ready to see some of these young guys play. Chase DeLauder has an absolute, cannon with the arm and the bat. And Miles Straw is a black hole on offense. But that is for another topic on another day, Matt.
Yeah, so anyway, as Noah just said, our center field is locked up, so we could throw him in right field. That'd be cool. Outside of that, nothing too much going on. Excited for the draft coming up. We'll get into that in a later episode as well.
Yeah, there's what you should be expected. The Guardians are playing up and down baseball just as any other team is. I've seen a lot of high hit games. I've seen a lot of low scoring games, high scoring games. You're seeing a lot of guys get the chance to play, and I'm really excited and happy with baseball just being back in general, really. Hopefully we see some more things that we can translate and take out to the field this in the next week as spring training continues to grow and there's more developments from there.
I mean, that is one thing with spring training is you do always see like the first week and a half of the games, it's rotating young guys through wherever. Later on, like getting into the next week here, you'll start to see what'll look more like the opening day roster take the field every game.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have more to come basically on Guardians baseball. Matt, what's our next topic?
So moving off of baseball here, we're going into the Browns. Some stuff's happened in the football world recently. What would you like to start with here, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the combine's going on. Shout out to the dude from Texas, I forget his name, who broke the 40-yard dash record and helped his draft stock probably. Main thing, not the main thing, but one of the things I want to talk about is the Browns are going to have joint practice in Greenbrier. They're going back to Greenbrier, Virginia, like they did last year, which I really liked. I think you liked as well, Matt, them getting out of Cleveland, locking in. With the Vikings, that means we're playing the Vikings in a preseason game, but I like the idea of having us, warm up against a team. I mean, the Vikings aren't, top echelon team in the NFL, but they're formidable for the most part. They always end up, good amount of wins, 500. So glad to have a team in here, see some competition. Hopefully Myles Garrett eats up that offensive line and Nick Chubb is there to practice. Matt, why don't you go into the next thing we have on the list about Denzel Ward?
Exciting news out of his team in the Browns. We restructured his contract. Going to save a good chunk of money on the cap this year. Free us up to make some interesting moves, hopefully.
Yeah, we are under the cap now. We have like $4 million. We kind of saw this kind of thing coming. I mean, we do this every year. We restructure, we move money around. That's what Andrew Berry does best. So shout out to Denzel Ward for getting his money moved around, I guess. It doesn't really mean anything other than he's getting his money in a different way. So good for them to get under the cap and start moving towards being able to bring some free agents in. Matt, the NFLPA report card has come out. Why don't you run us through the grading, and then I'm going to tell you why none of it matters.
So I'll start by saying we did not do good at all, according to the NFLPA. I won't run through all of them just because it's kind of a lengthy list. Some of the highlights, or I guess lowlights, would be we have the 30th weight room in the league, the 28th head coach, which I will argue about right now, 26th treatment of families, 23rd nutritionist, 23rd locker room, 23rd travel.
The highest one on here is ownership at 17. And, these are always interesting to see what these players turn in for surveys, right? You want to know why it doesn't matter, Matt?
Because ownership is our highest one.
No, because I've come to have more respect for Jimmy Haslam, but we'll get to that later. You want to know what team was 31st out of 32 teams?
What team?
The Kansas City Chiefs. So as much as they're fun to see what the players are saying about the facilities and all this stuff, the head coach is ranked this because of what was voted on. Does it really matter? It's entertainment. It's off-season entertainment, but does it really matter? I mean, number one's Miami, which makes sense because all of their facilities are brand new and they renovate Hard Rock Stadium or whatever it's called now every other day. Okay, we're getting in a new stadium. The Haslam's already said that they're building on to the new renovations they've done in Berea for the weight room. They know the weight room's a problem. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to say why, 26th in treatment of families. What does it matter at the end of the day if the Chiefs are 31? Chiefs were 31. The 49ers were like 8. So they're like all over the board.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just a fun little off-season thing. Like, it doesn't really impact anything or really matter all that much. Moving on from the off-season report card, Noah, quarterback situation.
Real shocker coming out of the New York Post. The Browns are planning to stick with Deshaun Watson. And the only reason I added it was because all the comments on Twitter were like, no, really? We would have never guessed. Thank you for the update. Like, we're so surprised, right? I just wanted to mention that was a tweet because it was funny, honestly. The next thing to cover is, the Browns are expected to have competition for Joe Flacco. Matt, we've talked about this. It's assumed with the end of the season that he put together. But it's mentioned that they will go to try for another veteran quarterback, such as Jacoby Brissett, which we all know and love here in Cleveland. Matt, talk about Zadarius Smith and their hopes.
Obviously, as me and you have both said, we agree on. We'd like to re-sign him. We'd like to keep
Right.
him around. Um, However, if he does end up moving on from us, we have our eyes on a few other guys. One of the big names being Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that move. Obviously, I'd want Smith first, but if we have to move on, so be it. Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett.
I agree with you full-heartedly on that. And then the last piece of information, this all comes out of the Mary Kay Cabot article a couple days ago. I forget what day. It might have been Wednesday or Thursday. The Friday night game, so the second game of the NFL season, is down to either us or the Green Bay Packers against Philly. We kind of talked about it in the last episode. I'm happy either way. Like I said, Sundays in Cleveland are the best for me. But being the second game of the NFL season and being able to watch it on a Friday night and have the whole weekend in front of us, fine with it too. Matt, any other input, any other news that you're thinking about?
I mean, just talking about the potential Brazil game. If it does end up being us, we better win that game because that'll ruin a weekend real quick. But,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think football on Friday, awesome. Football in Brazil, awesome. Whether it's Cleveland football or not, heck yeah.
Switching gears to our final topic and my favorite topic because, not that I think anything's going to happen per se, but Twitter in general was talking about trades for a guy, Justin Jefferson, right? And I'm posing this as more so what would you trade as a Brown, as the ownership and the GM of the Browns for a guy like Justin Jefferson? So we're using him as like the baseline, right? A young, top 5 receiver, perennial game changer, whatever you want to say, right? So before we start, I did some research going into this topic. Matt, I put together a trade that I would take in a heartbeat. I'm going to show it up on the screen now for you and everybody watching. I'll name it out after for the people that are listening, and then I want to hear your thoughts. Justin Jefferson for our 2nd round pick this year, our 5th round pick that we got from the Cardinals this year, and a 1st round pick next year. Go.
Absolutely. I mean, something like that, done. I mean, in my mind, he's a 2 to 3 first round player. So if something like that were to work out, for sure. Coming into this segment, though, I think you'll find this interesting. I was framing it as a mindset of the current Cleveland Browns. What would I do right now to get Justin Jefferson himself to Cleveland?
Right.
And my answer is no.
Why?
In this specific situation we're in, with the free agents coming up this year at wide receiver and what I believe to be the Browns' current championship window, we would have to sign him to a long-term deal that would take him out the end of that window, I would believe. And we can fill the needs we have right now with Amari Cooper and the free agents coming out. I think our money would be better spent elsewhere.
I'll give you my rebuttal after this break. So we're back, and I get what you're saying, right? But there's a GM that won a championship not too long ago with a motto that goes as such: F them picks. If we call up Minnesota and they say they want our first next year and the year after that and a 3rd rounder in either of those years, done. Send it. Give me Justin Jefferson. Adding him and extending him, he's a generational talent, first of all. Have you seen much drama with him at all as a player? I don't think so. He is a generational wide receiver. He's young. He, changes the game. He changes how defenses look at the game, like a Nick Chubb does, sometimes like an Amari Cooper does. But having a guy like Justin Jefferson be a wide receiver 1 and having a wide receiver 2 of Amari Cooper, and then whatever we want to put after that, I don't even care at that point. I think this offense, and Deshaun Watson especially, has no excuse whatsoever not to be top 5 offense in the league, with the offensive line we have, with Nick Chubb, with the wide receivers, and with a guy who is supposed to be a top 10 quarterback, point blank period. That's why we traded for him, right, Matt?
Absolutely. I mean, like you were just saying, and with the trade you put up on screen, done. Heartbeat, do it. I would be really shocked if, I mean, I guess not really shocked with the way NFL trades have gone, but in my mind, I have him as a 3 first-round player, if not more, like 3 and some change. And I do kind of agree with you in the sentiment of F them picks, but there's other things this team needs. You're going to have to spend a lot of money to keep Justin Jefferson around. He absolutely is a game changer, a generational player. I already believe he'll be a top 5 receiver ever.
He is already, in my opinion. He's arguably number 1 in my book.
I'm saying top 5 to ever do it, period.
Oh, okay. I'm there.
Yeah, he's the best receiver in the league, absolutely.
Yeah, right. I thought I was going to say.
Yeah, I think by the time his career's over, he'll be a top 5 to ever play, assuming he stays healthy and all of that.
Right.
There's just so much this Cleveland Browns team needs now to capitalize on our championship window. I can't see us spending that money.
See, the money doesn't equate to anything in my mind because of what Andrew Berry does. If they want 3 picks for him and we're able to do that and we get the okay from, Jimmy Haslam from above, and I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd do it for a guy like that in a heartbeat because you can restructure his salary just like we did with Denzel Ward. And my biggest philosophy is, in my opinion at least, you get 1 starting quality player out of a draft a year, you're drafting good. And Andrew Berry has been able to do that in every draft that he's had, with or without a first-round pick. I mean, Martin Emerson was a 3rd-round pick, and he, depending on who you ask or how you feel, is the best corner we have on the team right now, or depending on the game or whatever. DeJuan Jones, anybody? I mean, the list goes on and on for these players that we get in late rounds that end up being starters. So what does that first-round pick really mean if you're getting a starting or even star caliber player? Like DeJuan could be on the path to, and Martin Emerson already is basically a star corner. He's going to get a bag after his contract's up. What does it matter? What does a first-round pick really matter when you can draft that well? Yeah, Andrew Berry has his hiccups, and one of his hiccups, in my opinion, is drafting receiver. How do you solve that problem? You trade for Justin Jefferson. Now, I don't know if I believe 100% Justin Jefferson is available, like the rumors were and all that, especially because the GM kind of said no at the combine. But Matt, any other?
I mean, the more I do sit here and think about it, A, Andrew Berry, cap genius. Salary cap doesn't exist to the man. B, Andrew Berry, rounds 3 through 5, wizard. Just pulls the studs out of nowhere. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, being a few years without a first for Deshaun, I haven't noticed a lack of young talent compared to other teams in the league. Like,
right.
Sitting here taking a step back from the thinking I'm the GM. If you can do it, maybe you do. As long as Andrew Berry is confident he can work the cap the way he needs to. Like you were saying, he is generational.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just to round back up to that trade scenario I put together at the beginning. It was to start the conversation. A lot of people, that was some of the value I was seeing, was like a day 1, a day 2, a day 3 pick almost, which I agree with you, Matt, is kind of underselling it. I think he's 2 first rounders all day. Hence why I'm at the point, like, I'd give up 3 for him. I really don't care. I don't care about the draft picks. We're in win now mode. Give everything to the win now. I would rather have another 15 years of sucking as a Cleveland Brown fan and watching them suck if we got 1 Super Bowl. So we could trade away all the first round draft picks in the history of the Browns for 1 Super Bowl, in my opinion. I mean, do you disagree with me?
No, absolutely. Give them every future first for everybody.
100%. Well, with that being said, this was another episode of the East Bank Sports Show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the Fanatical Elves on everything. We love being a part of this group. We love you guys tuning in on the Fanatical Elves channels to watch us, watching us on X, watching us on Facebook, watching us on everything. Any last second takes, Matt? I got one for you, but you go if you got one.
I don't got one. Let's hear it.
SummerSlam to Cleveland. All my WWE fans, stand up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Matt, send them off.
Everybody have a wonderful week. Go Guards, go Cavs.